Shadow Regice will be making its way into Pokemon Go from Giovanni on March 25th at 10 a.m. local time. So is it going to be worth your time to catch this Pokemon? Is it going to be good? What do you do with this Pokemon? Let's check it out in this video right now. So you know what time it is? Welcome to the Shredded Club. Here we go. Shadow Regice in Pokemon Go. These Shadow Regis are here. I did predict this quite a while ago where I did cover a best of the best, including all 3 of these Pokemon. So I'm excited to see actually what comes next in these Shadows, because we do have obviously Shadow Regice and then probably Shadow Regirock, and then we'll see what happens. So Regice is an all ice type Pokemon that is already out, and now it's getting the Shadow form. Just remember the Shadow forms are going to be about 20% stronger in the attack category and about 20% weaker in the defensive category, and this Pokemon is typically seen as more of a defensive GBL type Pokemon as opposed to a meta attacker where you'd be looking to have a little bit more of an attack value, and then if it happens to have defense and stamina a little bit better, it makes it even more better for the gameplay. However, this Pokemon will have weaknesses of Steel, Rock, Fire, as well as Fighting, and it will have one resistance, yes, only one, which is going to be Ice. Everything else that is not mentioned here is going to be neutral against this Pokemon. This Pokemon is going to max out at 3,530, so not the highest CP Pokemon to max out. It will have an attack value of 179, a defense of 309, and a stamina of 190, so the defensive stat is definitely the stat that is going to take precedence over the rest. And as far as the moveset goes, it is going to get Lock On, Frost Breath, and Rock Smash. So Lock On is going to be the premier GBL move because it's going to charge fast. It does not do a lot of damage. So when we do talk about Shadow Pokemon going into Pokemon Go and other things, one of the things that we do want to really cover is the fact that these Rocket Pokemon are going to be obviously a little bit weaker, so having moves that are going to be stronger may serve this Pokemon a little bit better. And then as far as the charge moves, it's going to get Blizzard, Focus Blast, Earthquake, and then it's going to have a legacy moveset of Thunder, meaning you would have to Elite Charge TM this Pokemon to be able to get it to that move. So where's Regice going to best sit with its optimal moveset in the Shadow form? Let's check out the DPS, damage per second, times TDO, total damage output, to see what is going to be the best served moveset on the Shadow, and how does the Shadow compare in ER value to the regular, which one's going to be stronger and which one's not, in the meta attacker breakdown. So for the Shadow Regice, it is obviously better performing as a meta attacker than is the regular Regice. So we do have Frost Breath and Blizzard at 31.94. Then if we keep going down on the list, we have Lock On Blizzard, then we go to Focus Blast with Frost Breath, and then we go to Earthquake with Frost Breath, with is pretty cool, okay? But they go from 31 to 30 to 29, basically. The regular Regice with the Frost Breath and Blizzard is at 27.98 in comparison to 31.94, which is approximately 4-point differential. However, at the same time, this Pokemon is not extremely high as an ER value, up into the 40s, mid 40s, high 40s, or even 50s, depending on which category we're comparing. So this Pokemon, unfortunately, is not really getting a significant bump that looks like it's going to make any type of splash. So for the first impression, honestly, like I just talked about, maybe not the most effective Pokemon right now. So let's check this Pokemon out in the Ice category, because that is the optimal moveset on this Pokemon. Obviously, it's not going to be doing anything in the ground category or anything in the fighting category, because you are going up against Pokemon such as Terrakion with Double Kick and Sacred Sword, not even close. And then also we are going up against Primal Groudon, not even close. So the only chance it does have as a meta attacker is going to be in the Ice category. Where does it sit? The number 1 Ice attacker that's not in the game yet, but I can't wait for it to become into the game, is Galarian Darmanitan with the Ice Fang and Avalanche at 46.38. Shadow Mamoswine, not too far behind it, Powder Snow Avalanche, 43.16. So before we go onwards, we're already looking at a Shadow Mamoswine, which is not a rated for Pokemon, meaning you're not going to have premium XL candy for that Pokemon to be able to power it up, meaning it's going to be a budget counter. Yes, it is in the Shadow form, so it is going to be more expensive from a Stardust standpoint, but from an XL candy standpoint, it is very budget. It doesn't cost you anything to get this XL candy. So looking at the top, whenever I see a category and I'm like, budget counter at the top, boom, done. I don't care about any of the other Pokemon for the most part, even though we still want to break it down and see where it does sit, but that's something that I always just see, I take into account, and then I'm like, okay, now I know what to do for this category. And then we have another budget counter, Shadow Weavile with Ice Shard and Avalanche at 39.93. I'm going to caution you about the Shadow Weavile because it is extremely glassy. Then we have the Galarian Darmanitan, regular at 37.87, Mamoswine, 37.07. So for the Ice category, we have all the top spots made up by 2 Shadows and 2 non-Shadows. Yes, they are semi-glassy nasty Pokemon, but at the same time, guys, does it really matter? Not really. And then we have both of the Megas, Glalie and Abomasnow, coming in. So the Mega Glalie is going to be slightly stronger than the Abomasnow by 0.5. Then we have the Glaceon, Weavile, Shadow Articuno is going to be coming in next. If we go to the next page, in the 11th spot, we now have the Shadow Regice with Frost Breath and Blizzard at 31.94, followed closely by the Avalugg at 31.82, Shadow Piloswine, Cloyster, Abomasnow, and Walrein coming in the next spots from 31.57 all the way to 30.96. So looking at this, guys, what is going on with this Pokemon? Obviously, like I said, it is not going to be the top spot. Like, if it was absolutely blowing all the competition out the water, like it was like 10 points above the Shadow Mamoswine, I'd be like, wow, we really have something here. But unfortunately, when we look at this Pokemon, we don't have something here. And additionally speaking, I want you guys to check this out. So if we do check out the Shadow Registeel, I had to catch one because I have a couple Rocket Radar stacked up, and once you are at it now, they kind of have capped how it does go because you have to complete the research to be able to get the next radar. So if I have a research now and I got the radar, I'm not going to be able to get another research to get another radar until I go through this one. It's not like they're going to give you multiple researches all at the same time. So if I don't catch this next Pokemon, I will just forego that Pokemon. So I have to catch it at this point. It's not really capable to be able to stock multiple of them unless you choose to miss one and you haven't stocked any as of right now. If you want to see the complete stocking Rocket Radar video, check it out up here. Let's just say I do want to power up this Pokemon. It's going to cost me 615,000 Stardust and 360 XL Candy, which is insane in the drainage of your Stardust, and also 64 more XL Candy than is the regular. Is it really worth that much? To me, personally, no. Even if it was 100% IV, absolutely not. So as far as a meta attacker, Shadow Regice is going to be a no-go for me in this category. So now what about GBL? Well, let's look at what happened with Registeel and then compare it to the Regice and see what does happen, because I don't have the exact values. As soon as they come out, I will pin them in the comments below, and if anything changes, I will make sure you guys know. So for the Great League, Registeel is actually ranked 1. In the Shadow form, it's going to be ranked 26, because like we talked about, these Pokemon are focused around using Lock-On. While Regice in Shadow form could be recommended as a Frost Breath, that would mean that this Pokemon is only going to be good for really using Frost Breath. It's really not going to be good for saving up these attacks. And since these Pokemon do have 1-bar charge moves for the meta attackers and they are longer charge moves for GBL, it's much better to have them in the regular tanky form to be able to take more hits, to be able to save up, to be able to get to the specials than it is somewhere else. And just remember, Regice is going to need an elite charge TM to be able to get Thunder on this Shadow as well. So not only is it going to require XL Candy if you're going to max it out from the Master League, it's also going to require a ton of Stardust and an elite TM. So this Pokemon is very resource intensive. And for the Regice here, it's actually going to be ranked 77 in the regular with Lock-On, Thunder, as well as Blizzard. So for the Ultra League, we're looking at a slightly different story. For the Registeel, it's rank 1. For the Shadow, it's actually rank 3 because we are moving it up in the level. So that means it's gaining its tankiness just by having a higher level. So that's pretty cool. And then the Regice is going to be ranked 26. So if we think about it here, are you using Regice in the Ultra League? I don't know. You're going to have to see if that Pokemon makes sense for your team. It is pretty beastly. Registeel, beastly. But the regular does outperform the Shadow because Lock-On does not really do all that much damage here, and you get a little bit extra tank to that Pokemon. And as far as the Master League, the Registeel is 86 and the Shadow Registeel is 149, once again prevailing in the regular over the Shadow. And the Regice is only ranked 122 in the Master League, so maybe it might bump it up, but is a bump of maybe to about 70 or 80 going to be worth all that Stardust, energy, and effort when you could probably just use a different Pokemon to accomplish the same goal? To me, personally not. So unfortunately, you will have to catch one if you already have Rocket Radar stocked up, but if you do not have Rocket Radar stocked up, I would suggest skipping this one and starting to stock Rocket Radars right now by skipping over Regice. Obviously, then you would have to catch Regirock, and then we will see what comes next. Maybe at some point, we're going to see the Shadow Groudon, Shadow Kyogre, which you can check out in the video up here. So thank you guys for tuning in as always, to all my likers, comments, subscribers, Patreon members. Everybody takes their support, subscription, and participation to the next level. I'm going to see you guys out in the next video. Peace. I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and rating all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.